Power, influence, and security. These are the things you can buy with money. Things that will help your family to retain its wealth for generations to come. Believe it or not, these are way better than buying flashy cars, ultra-luxurious yachts, golden toilets, private jets, and everything a normal person can only dream of. After all, buying power, influence, and security made the 10 wealthiest families in history obtain and retain their riches through different administration eras and even wars. Welcome to Thrivetastic. If you're new here, why not hit that subscribe button and join our community? And as always guys, give this video a thumbs up for that YouTube algorithm. Number 10. The Oppenheimer family, $8.2 billion. You've probably heard of a diamond. It's that shiny little thing that, depending on where you live, might cost almost as much as your car, or perhaps your home. Imagine having all the diamonds in the world and having to decide when and where to sell them. That's how the Oppenheimer family has felt for the past 85 years, since Ernest Oppenheimer was elected mayor of Kimberley, South Africa, and head of the local diamond company in 1912. The Oppenheimers were deeply involved in local politics and were always balancing the powers in the powder keg that was South Africa in the late 1970s and early 1980s. As a result, the family sought to hold the majority of the world's gold reserves today. That is, of course, absurd. However, it is a fact that the family is one of the largest suppliers of diamonds, gold, platinum, and a variety of industrial minerals. Even though the Oppenheimers no longer have a complete monopoly on diamonds, they still have a massive fortune of $8.2 billion. This may not seem impressive at first, but the family thrives in South Africa, accounting for nearly 3% of the country's overall GDP. Number 9. The Murdoch family, $17.9 billion. You've probably seen a Murdoch-owned production if you've lived in any place other than China, Iran, and a few other places where personal freedoms are valued as much as toilet paper after use. The Murdochs are media tycoons with roots in Australia and the United Kingdom. The most well-known is Rupert Murdoch, who amassed a great fortune through his News Corp because of his aptitude for entertainment. Murdoch owned over 100 media businesses around the world, ranging from horrific gossip mills like The Sun to famous news publications like the Wall Street Journal. Murdoch managed to keep his positions and power, owing largely to his lack of political affiliation. With Fox News on the right and the New York Post on the left, he was able to play both sides of US politics. This is how he amassed more than $21 billion today. The Murdoch family is well past its prime, yet they still control more than $17.9 billion. And more importantly, a large amount of public influence through their huge media empire that spans 6 continents and dozens of countries. Number 8. Wertheimer family, $62 billion. The Wertheimers are a prime example of how to make billions off of someone else's brilliance. This wealthy family made their fortune through what was tantamount to a scam. In 1920, Pierre Wertheimer struck a deal with the rising fashion icon Coco Chanel. Chanel needs Wertheimer's retail experience to take her product global. However, according to the deal, Wertheimer received 70% of all profits, while Chanel received 10%. Not exactly a straightforward deal. Chanel, of course, fought back and won several court challenges during the Nazi occupation of France. She tried to reclaim the company from the Jewish Wertheimers by using her ties to the Nazi party. However, Pierre was one step ahead of the game, selling the company to a Nazi collaborator and then buying it back after the war. Finally, after Chanel's death, the Wertheimers purchased her stock and prudently invested their fortune to become one of the world's wealthiest families today. They are worth $62 billion. They know how to live lavishly and own multiple vineyards in France, as well as horse farms that breed race horses. Number 7. The Windsor family, $88 billion. Popularly known as the British royal family, it's only natural that the Windsor family would be included in this list. Aside from ruling one of the world's strongest economies, Queen Elizabeth and her successors also have a massive wealth with assets like the Buckingham Palace and over $10 billion in other real estate properties. It's no surprise that the Windsor family has over $88 billion in assets. In fact, Queen Elizabeth herself, the matriarch of the family, is worth over $500 million, and surprisingly not even the richest Windsor out there. The wealthiest Windsor will never sit on the throne. Neither Charles, whose net worth is estimated to be around 400 million, nor William, whose net worth is estimated to be around 40 million, nor even the future King George, who is still not even a teenager but is worth over $3 billion, can compete with their wealthy relative. Surprisingly, Charlotte, Prince George's younger sister, is the wealthiest member of the British royal family, is valued at a stunning $5 billion. Of course, none of William and Kate's children can flash their fortune, purchase a brand new Mercedes AMG, or start throwing money from the London Eye. Their possessions, however, are well kept, and they will have a start in life that few people have. Number 6. The Morgan family, $119 billion. Unsurprisingly, one of the most powerful banking dynasties in US history is also on this list. The Morgan family is now worth over $119 billion and is a perfect illustration of how the wealthy should preserve their riches and power throughout centuries. Their massive wealthy expansion began with JP Morgan's establishment of his first bank in the mid-19th century. During the American Civil War, the clever American was able to consolidate the country's heavy industries and finance the North's war effort. He saved the US economy twice by providing enormous financial support. First in 1895, when the US Treasury was about to collapse, and then in 1907, during the so-called financial panic. This gave the Morgans a great deal of influence in the US government, which helped them amass more fortune. Furthermore, they utilized their political power to transform the rail, steel, and electrical industries in the United States, which increased their wealth. Today, Morgan's descendants, like their forefathers, do not waste their money on unnecessary purchases, but instead reinvest their fortune to ensure that their children will climb even higher on this list. Before we go on with our list, let's have a little bit of fun. If you're given a chance to be part of one of these families, where would you like to belong? Please share with us your answers in the comment section down below. Number 5. The Koch family, $124.5 billion. The Kochs are one of America's most prominent political families today. Charles and David Koch are both in the top 10 list of billionaires, with a combined wealth of more than $124.5 billion. The Koch family is one of the world's largest oil producers. The Koch brothers are dedicated to maintaining the Koch Industries as the largest privately owned corporation in America. That is why they invest substantially in opposing climate change legislations and are one of the Republican Party's largest contributors. As oil magnates, they have a strong interest to keep their operations going for as long as possible, which stands in opposition to the present Democratic Party agenda. That is why the Koch family has donated more than $1.5 billion to the Republican Party over the last decade. Number 4. The Mars family, $126 billion. As one of the most prominent sweet manufacturers in the world, this family may be responsible for over half of all cavities in America. If you haven't been living a scheduled life in a monastery, high in the Tibetan mountains seeking God, and possibly where Batman went on his spiritual journey, chances are you've at least eaten one of Mars' products. The Mars family built a candy empire worth more than $126 billion from a humble kitchen in 1911. With over 6 generations hooked to their delicious bars, today, the family's influence comes not from political machinations as it does from the love of their loyal consumers all over the world. Number 3. The Walton family, $238.2 billion. Typically, billionaires adhere to the maximum of not putting all of their eggs in one basket. The Waltons clearly missed that lesson, and while they do have several side businesses, retail is their principal source of income. You've at least been to a Walmart if you live in America. Founded in 1962, the retail brand is now the largest in the United States. They control over a quarter of the nearly $500 billion retail industry. Walmart is now run by the 3rd generation of Walton family members, who have managed to double the family's wealth in less than a decade. The Walton family is now valued at $238.2 billion and is widely considered the world's wealthiest family. Number 2. The Rockefellers, $418 billion, $11 billion today. Without a doubt, the Rockefellers are the most influential family in American history. The Rockefellers have achieved worldwide popularity and are widely regarded as America's true leaders. That, however, is merely a conspiracy theory, because our 5-dimensional lizard overlords make America's decisions. John Rockefeller, the founder of the Standard Oil Company, established the Rockefeller legacy. For decades, the family dominated the American oil industry, owning more than 90% of the domestic market. With an estimated adjusted net worth of more than $418 billion, John became the richest American ever. It is believed that John has earned over $1.5 trillion in his lifetime, making him the most productive individual on the earth. Following his death, his enormous fortune was distributed to charities and trust funds, with just a small fraction going to his descendants. Despite this, you won't see a Rockefeller sleeping under a bridge anytime soon, since the family now owns over $11 billion in assets in addition to more than $500 billion in trust funds. Number 1. The Rothschild family, $500 billion to $1 trillion. The family behind the majority of the world's absurd conspiracies is, of course, the wealthiest in the world. The Rothschild family is responsible for dozens if not hundreds of bizarre theories dating back to the 18th century. With such wealth, it's hardly unexpected that the line between myth and reality has become blurred. While insane beliefs, like they're controlling the entire world, are beyond ludicrous, one can easily think that they own a minority share in every major bank in the world. Although the Rothschilds started as bankers in Europe, by the start of the 20th century, their empire had expanded into over 100 industries. Today, the family's net worth is believed to be between $500 billion and $1 trillion. However, the Rothschilds keep their wealth confidential, and with a few notable exceptions, no one ever flaunts their wealth. As mentioned at the start of the video, these wealthy families use their money to buy power, influence, and security that has been passed down to their descendants from one generation to another. If you were to acquire billions of dollars today, where would you use it? Please let us know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Thank you for watching this Thrivetastic video. So if you found it valuable, consider subscribing to our channel and joining our awesome community. And if you're still hungry for more, we handpicked this awesome Thrivetastic video for you to watch next.